Hello everyone, and welcome to Jaime's Haberdashery presents Dapper Drinks, the show where I, your host, Dyson Heschke, present to you traditional cocktail recipes. Today's cocktail of choice is another classic gin cocktail, the Negroni. Now, before we begin today's episode, I have a couple questions for all of you. For starters, how do you like the show? I hope I'm doing decently well, and I hope I'm entertaining enough and informational enough. And secondly, do you have any other ideas for the show, beverages, or different kind of segments? I was thinking about potentially doing dedicated videos to the history and story behind things like specific spirits or glassware or tools of the trade and terminology and such. If you'd like that, let us know in the comments section below. And lastly, I don't remember who said it, what your username was, but someone was talking about how they wanted to see the Negroni, and well, here you are. So, to start off with, the Negroni uses equal parts sweet vermouth, Campari, and the staple of the beverage, dry gin. London Dry is what we're going to be using today. Now, the Negroni is equal parts of these things into a mixing glass, and we're going to be doing an ounce each of these today. Doesn't matter what order, just pour them all in to your mixing glass. Now, I would like to address something that someone that I know, and you know who you are as well, was mentioning about the show, and I heard it through the grapevine that I shouldn't be using measuring units on the show. But I say nay to that. I think for educational purposes, using a double jigger like this, using an ounce, 2 ounces for this one, and for a standard jigger, 1.5 ounces for a shot and whatnot. I think that is a very useful educational tool, and so I'll be doing it for the rest of the show. So, got in our mixing glass all 3 ingredients, equal parts, and then we're going to get some ice. So we're going to crack our ice into the mixing glass. And we're going to stir for about 20 to 30 seconds or so, just to make sure it gets nice and cool, nice and mixed up. And then we're going to get out a low ball glass, rocks glass, whiskey glass, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to strain it in. Just like so. And we'll get that nice, kind of bright red color. And then for the Negroni, we're going to be using an orange slice for the garnish. Now, the origination of the Negroni comes from Florence, Italy, circa 1919. Now, Count Camillo Negroni went to a cafe called the Cassoni in downtown Florence, and he ordered his favorite beverage, the Americano, which, kind of like our beverage today, was equal parts sweet vermouth, Campari, and soda water. But Count Negroni wanted his a little more strong, so the bartender opted to swap out the soda water for gin, and thus the Negroni was born. It eventually spread like wildfire around Italy and then eventually made its way to the United States. So again, our citrus of today's beverage is going to be an orange. Going to express that in there, and then I'm just going to garnish it on the side. And there we go. That is the traditional Negroni. Let's have a taste. Now immediately, I'm going to drop this in there. Now immediately off the rip, you've got a nice little zingy bitterness to it. Kind of numbs the tongue. That leads way to a bit of a sweet, nice aroma that we get from the vermouth. Because the Campari is very bitter and stingy. And then obviously you've got the herbal tasting of the gin. Now, on to my own version of the cocktail. Now, my version of the Negroni is going to basically be the same with a little bit of additions to it, along with one thing that's going to be swapped out. So we're going to do the same as we did before. We're going to get out our mixing glass and put in equal parts, an ounce each, of sweet vermouth, Campari, and London Dry Gin. And again, no particular order. Just get your ingredients in the mixing glass. Then we will get our ice. And crack it into the glass. Now, as I'm making this, you can just get that aroma of the Campari. It does have that kind of sweet cherry smell to it, but then when you drink it, it is quite bitter. So, again, we're going to mix this up for about 20 to 30 seconds. Now, my addition to the beverage is going to be half an ounce, so half a measure, compared to all these being equal parts of grenadine to the beverage. This is going to make it a bit sweeter. For all of you who don't necessarily like the bitter sting of the Campari at the beginning of the tasting of the beverage, this will help with that. Now, you're going to do half an ounce, so I'm just going to measure out roughly half an ounce in my 1 ounce jigger here. Pour that in there, and then I'm going to stir it up just a little bit more, just to make sure that that gets mixed up. And now, for last little bit of this, we're going to pour it out, but the citrus I'm also going to change. Instead of orange, I'm going to use lime. The first episode of this program, I did the Sazerac, and the second, my own version, the second drink of the episode that you didn't really get to see much of, was kind of the same principle. I added grenadine, and I opted out the citrus for lime at the end of the show, and that's what I'm going to do here. And what this is going to do is give it a bit more of that sweetness to it, but also some tartness from the lime. And again, I think that will be more palatable for people who don't like things so bitter. I think that'll be great. So just express this in there. And again, I'm just going to drop this in there. And let's have a taste. It definitely does, not completely, but neutralize a little bit of that bitterness from the Campari. I'm going to add a little bit more to it, to a full ounce, just to see if adding a little bit more will get that sweetness level up. And also the color is a little bit more vibrant than the traditional one. I'll just stir it a little bit more. For people who do not like really bitter drinks, and again, it's initially bitter and then it opens up to a sweetness, the original that is, I think this is a great option for you. Now, the recipe for today, I do not have a link for you. It was kind of hard to find a really old version of this recipe, but it's very simple. There's not a lot of leeway. It's equal parts, these 3 ingredients with orange. So, that is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching today's episode of Dapper Drinks. Here are our drinks, the traditional and my own version of the Negroni. And please comment down below and tell us what you'd like to see in the future. Next week's beverage of choice is going to be the sangria. Lastly, if you'd like to see this set, or you'd like to stop by Jaime's Haberdashery, if you're ever in the Twin Cities area, we're down here at 6th and St. Peter on the corner of the historic Ham building, right across from Rice Park. That's all. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Just a little lovesick, I can see. He doesn't see her every day, but if she passes by, you'll hear him say,